Anybody know what this URL is?
I'd send it to different LinkedIn stuff, but I don't know if anybody's.
We'll have a little chat here.
We'll have a little chat.
We'll pick up where we left off at the Catfish restaurant.
That's right. The Catfish Parlor. Yes. Exactly. Welcome everyone to IoT Coffee Talk. Your fearless leaders are here. Me and Pete. It's just us. There might be some other people. I don't know. Leonard is on an airplane, like many people.
He's on his Learjet.
I'm sure you even shortly. Are you heading to MWC soon?
No, I'm not doing the MWC anymore. I got my money's worth on that thing.
Yeah.
I'm focused on Embedded World. I'm going to leave Saturday for Embedded World.
Okay. All right.
And then I was in Texas this week, as you know. So
yeah. Unseasonably warm in Texas, I noticed.
Was it? Yeah, it was very pleasant.
It was nice. Yeah, absolutely.
I did a lot of driving when I was there. I was just telling someone from Silicon Labs.
Yeah.
Telling them about all the driving I did. I landed in San Antonio and went to the UT San Antonio Neuromorphic launch, the launch of Thor.
That's a big word.
Big word, Neuromorphic. That was fun. It was very like all UTSA and actually, academia from all over the U.S. and actually worldwide, because it's a deployment of neuromorphic chips in like a server rack.
Okay.
It's like 48 chips a board, 50 boards.
Wow.
Like it's a huge shared resource for running like spiking neural network workloads.
Okay.
Research. And it's funded by Sandia and NSF and
NSF. Okay.
So a lot of work to get that thing off the ground. So it was cool. So we had a day-long discussion of neuromorphics. We had a walkthrough of how to put your workloads onto this thing, which I think we all agreed needs a lot of work. It was I called it an unforgiving interface. Let me put it that way.
Oh, is there like a way?
Phoenix, like when I was a BIOS developer, that's what it felt like.
There you go. Is there like this neuromorphic, this whole thing? Is there a layman's terms that you could explain what it is or what it's for?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's referred to as hyper efficient AI, but it's basically a redesign of the architecture of the silicon to support like what's called spiking neural networks, which are neural networks that happen based on the kind of to mimic the brain activity. So it's almost like you're not really consuming any power unless the signal changes.
Okay.
Basically kind of how you describe it. So, but instead of taking our new AI models and sticking them in kind of traditional architecture, which we have, right? The Van Neumann kind of thing that we've had for 50 years, 60 years.
Right.
Years. So it's like, what if you redesign the chip around the AI model?
Yeah.
The way the human brain works, which is, many orders of magnitude more efficient than computers.
That makes a lot more sense.
And then you could actually run stuff at really super low power. Orders of magnitude less power.
I just had a weird flashback related to, hey, instead of using these whatever general purpose or even GPUs for this software thing that maybe they don't fit, let's build a new chip that maps to it. Do you remember Sun Microsystems building a Java chip in the 90s?
I think I remember that.
That was the chip itself, the microcode and everything was optimized for the JVM.
Right. No, I mean, and I remember when Microsoft, I think we had talked about at one point, like, how do we hardware accelerate like Windows,
Yeah. Right.
That they, hardware and software, as some of you may know, is basically the same thing. I mean, it's just, you can't recompile the hardware. So you're either running it like loosey goosey up there in software, or you're committing to it in hardware. And
assembler.
An assembler. So you got to pick and choose. And what was it, Alan Kay, who said that whoever is serious about software needs to build hardware or something? So
that's right. That's the point.
It is the same discipline. It is. And I think these days when people get into Python and kind of all kinds of vibe coding and like
way up here,
they're like so removed from what's actually happening. Sometimes it's good to get down to like the bits and the registers and like this.
They're 1,000 miles away from the chip.
Many thousands. But the neuromorphic stuff is really cool. There's companies like Initera, BrainChip, Femto AI does the sparsity program accelerator. A lot of companies kind of innovating with new architectures at the far edge. So you imagine like peel and stick AI sensors and
Yeah.
wearables, hearables, implantables, anything that's running AI workloads that needs a super extended battery life everyone, I was saying like you never have enough battery life. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Like if your phone lasts for a day, it's like, I wish it was 2 days. Phones used to last for like 4 days, right?
Right.
Or
Yeah.
5 days. And
Back in
people are
the
like, oh my
day.
God, my phone lasted a day. Like, it's not that good.
Wow. Your
So
StarTAC used to last a long time.
yeah, so power efficiency is a huge frontier for AI, not just because of obviously the data center issues around, each data center needs to come with its own nuclear power plant now, but
Right.
also just everyday life, like battery powered things, solar powered, pedestrian safety cameras. I mean, you name it.
Yeah.
So this power efficiency thing is pretty cool. So Neuromorphic's cool. It's just that it is a big leap and
Yeah.
requires like, a different tool chain and different way of thinking about things. And, but it's a huge opportunity
Yeah, it
to
is.
get in there and do something different and new. So I spent the first day at San Antonio.
Okay. Did you go to the
Flew
Alamo?
I did actually. So we went out to dinner, beautiful dinner, and then it was like I'm like, I think I'm like 2 minutes from the Alamo. So and it was like 9 o'clock at night. So I drove over there and I
Yeah.
walked around. It was closed, but I
Okay.
walked around and yeah, I took some pictures and I stood there, Davy Crockett statue,
Right. Yeah.
uh, and that was cool. And then I found a cool bar and hung out there for a little bit. But then the next day I drove up to Richardson, Texas.
Mm.
So this was a
Which
drive.
was previously a long, long time ago, was kind of known as like a telco alley,
Hmm.
like back when like the telecom. Remember, what was it? Um,
Nortel.
Nortel was there,
Hmm.
and a bunch of and Ericsson and all these other companies were out in Richardson up that freeway.
It's like north of Dallas. North
Yeah,
of that.
it, back in the heyday when telecoms had a lot of money before today, where they are all
Yes.
leveraged to the hilt.
Yeah, I know. Sad. But I actually, speaking of heyday, I went and visited Texas Instruments at their headquarters,
Ooh,
their
there you
original
go.
headquarters, corporate headquarters. Had a great meeting there. Talked about what we're doing, what they're doing. They're all in on Edge AI, which is cool to see.
That's
It's cool to
awesome.
see like kind of these, companies with long histories kind of adopting a lot of new stuff. So I did that, and then I drove down to Austin after that meeting. Oh, but wait, I stopped first. Since I was in Dallas,
Oh,
I,
oh,
I went to Dealey Plaza.
oh, right, right.
I went to Dealey Plaza. I stood where Zapruder stood. I took a little video. I was like total tourist.
I'm holding
And
there with your.
that's right. And then I drove. I drove my car across down the same road,
Right.
and that was kind of freaky.
Kept the
Um,
top up that time on
that's
the
right.
car.
Yes. Yeah. That
Smart.
time I kept the top up.
Kept smart move.
Too soon. Too soon. Uh, but yeah. So then I went from Dallas down to Austin, and then I the next day I met with well, we had lunch, so that was
Yeah,
good.
with
Jimmy
Jason.
and Jason Shepard from Adam, and then I met
Yeah.
with Infineon, some folks from Infineon at their headquarters there.
Oh, that's cool.
And I stopped at Bucky's along the way.
What was your
I got
takeaway from Bucky's? It's like a
good play.
cultural phenomenon,
No shortage of gas pumps, and
right?
but
Right.
then yeah, I got a brisket sandwich there and some lime and salt peanuts. Those are good.
That's kind of
So yeah,
cool.
yeah. So I got some Bucky's stuff, and so I felt like I had a good Texas experience. And I was telling folks on the call this morning, like we have a lot of partners down there, and there's so much happening. I mean, you're down there too. It's like I could have spent all week there easily.
Oh yeah.
In fact,
Oh
as
yeah.
I posted on LinkedIn, I got lots of pings saying, "Hey, you're here, let's meet." And Dell's down there and everybody, and
Right.
I could have spent the whole week. So maybe next time I'll stay longer.
There's some historical significance to Texas Instruments. Obviously, what is it? Robert Noyce, whatever, and Fairchild gets lots of love around the transistor and starting
Yeah.
the whole semiconductor, but that actually was invented at Texas Instruments.
Mhm.
And but he went on and improved upon the design that TI had come up with to make it more efficient. And
No,
obviously,
TI
they
is right.
built Fairchild and then Intel and all that.
Yeah,
Um,
no, TI is right at the beginning, and they still have the same architecture, which I love. The architecture they had at their headquarters is
like,
very
does it look like it's
1960s.
decades ago? Yeah,
I mean, it's all new carpet and stuff. I mean, it's not.
new
It's
carpet.
it's nice. It's nice, but it's
Yeah,
clearly like kind of mid-century
right.
kind of retro tech, which is kind of cool.
Can you
So
imagine being back then, those days, whether you're at TI or you're at Fairchild or you're at Intel, and the world is your oyster. You're creating a
yeah,
whole new, I mean, think about those, they created a whole new world with these
I know.
chips.
Yeah, and they had their short sleeve white shirts with the pocket
Yes,
protector
they
thing.
look like they worked at NASA at Mission Control, right?
You bet. You bet. And they were creating a whole new world, just kind of like AI is creating a whole new world right now,
Yeah.
a darker, more dystopian world. But
More
man,
fucking world. Have you checked your stock price lately on everything?
yikes!
Yeah, it is. It's kind of
But
scary.
no,
Yeah.
it's cool to go and meet with these companies. Like Analog Devices joined our foundation recently,
Oh, good.
Jimi, and
That's good.
another classic,
Yeah.
company that's just been around, since the beginning in Boston, and
Yeah.
old school Boston tech. I love old school Boston tech companies.
You got to give lots of love to old school Boston.
MathWorks is out there.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
MathWorks. Okay,
they're
they
part of
they
our
do MATLAB
community.
and all that.
MATLAB,
Yeah,
yeah,
totally remember that. Yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome.
MATLAB is still there, and so they're still doing lots of cool stuff. So yeah, these companies, I wouldn't say reinvent themselves, but they have to keep evolving and
Yeah.
keep innovating, and so it's good to see that too. I mean, I work with lots of startups who are, I had a call yesterday with a company called Zedek in Korea who do a pretty cool, I would say model munging is my word for it.
Okay,
Take a model over here and put it over here and to kind of recompile it and optimize it and,
that's cool.
productize it. And very cool. And they're like, a year and a half old,
Right.
coming up on 2 years, right?
Okay.
And there's no shortage of those. There's hundreds of those, thousands of those in the AI space, especially also in edge AI space.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
but then you see these other folks like the Infineons and the Texas
Yeah.
Instruments, and they're like, hey, they've been around for decades,
Right.
and customers have shipped a quintillion units of whatever.
Quintillion units. That's a lot of units. That's more than
So
a million.
it's cool to see this ecosystem where there's always new folks coming in, and
That's so cool. I had like
so
a dinner, that night, same night I saw you, over by the University of Texas, and it was like an IDC dinner, and then we had a bunch of local execs from
all
all the
right, yeah,
usual
you mentioned that.
suspects companies
Mhm.
there. AMD is there, Dell, obviously,
Compaq,
AWS, not
Compaq was
home.
there.
Yeah, yeah, Matt was there. It was good. Ashish was there, and so yeah, we talked about agentic AI and
Mm,
had a lively discussion. It's kind of like that. Maybe we'll have a few slides, but it's a big table, long dinner, and the whole point of it
yeah,
is really just to kind of kick off conversations around that. And so that was really fun and
yeah.
interesting. Uh,
Cool.
and
It's
then,
such a hot topic. It's like we're doing a live stream, I think April 22nd, 23rd, and it's on our website.
yeah,
We do these tech live streams on generative edge AI, including agentic and physical
right.
stuff. And I think
It's
you were on one of them.
I was. That's right. Yeah,
We
yeah,
get
that was
thousands of
fun.
people on those things, thousands of views,
Really, that's awesome.
and it's amazing. And it's everyone around the world, students, professionals, and it's just a series of tech talks about what is happening in this space because what happened 6 months ago is old news. So,
Yeah,
we were
right.
on a call this morning with the working group, like, yeah, we're going to do this one in April. It's all new talks and all new stuff. And
Oh my
this
gosh.
agentic thing, everyone's trying to figure out how
Right.
to do it or not do it or do it
Yeah.
safely or the hell with the safety. I don't know.
Hell with the safety. Take off the safeties. That's
Take
funny
it
you
off.
say that. Because during the conversation at the table about that, there was that notion about safety and if in fact the most common words I heard, obviously sovereignty was a big one, privacy, safety, security. governance was huge.
Hmm.
And so you had a lot of people talking about guardrails, and they're like, "What are guardrails? Is that some kind of security thing?" And I go, "Well, a good example of a guardrail. I go, guardrails around AI is actually putting deterministic things around probabilistic technology. And what
Yeah.
I mean by that, like a guardrail might be
Like you're driving down the road and there's a guardrail. Like if you run into it, it keeps
exactly,
you from
yeah.
going
A
off the
guardrail
edge.
governance might be, hey, yes, I've allowed OpenClaw to book airlines for me, but I put in some guardrail governance that's deterministic that says can't do book more
Can't
than three
spend more than
thousand
500
dollars.
bucks or yeah, can't. Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't
Yeah.
just spend all your money. We a lot of talk about OpenClaw, and
Mm.
people are like excited, freaked out. And so you had a lot of people that were all locked down on governance. And then you had another person from a giant hyperscaler cloud go, well, we were actually the opposite of that. And we want our developers to not have any of that because it inhibits innovation. Should you do all this maybe in a really large sandbox? Sure. But their company
Well,
was
it
like, we're a
depends on the
software
size of
company.
your sandbox, like you said.
Yeah.
You can innovate and develop, and those guardrails could be way out there. You could have like 8 lane highway, and you could
Yeah.
be swerving all over that road. That's fine. Just don't
Right.
go 8 lanes over.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Absolutely.
I think it's I'm part of this World Economic Forum. They actually have a safety and security working group that we
Okay.
have, and we publish some papers on agentic AI guardrails and
Wow.
just like things to think. Yeah, it's a pretty cool group. And I'm sort of I'm the edge person,
You're
the
edgy.
one edge person. Um, but it's serious stuff because especially when you get into physical AI and the physical
Yeah.
world, you know, being able to have, like you said, deterministic guardrails over
Right.
what's happening in the real world.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
arm
It's
is doing
wild.
this or it's going this way. I mean, this is like
Yeah.
serious stuff. So we have to get used to, we have to sort of abolish the myth that guardrails equals like tramples innovation. It just
Right.
doesn't.
That's right.
And
That's a good
you
point.
know and I
Yeah.
think every time you bring it up, it's like, oh, we don't want to, it's a race against the Chinese, we have to like, well, hold on,
Right.
okay, we do have guardrails on our highways for a reason. Like it's just,
Yeah.
people still drive like batshit crazy
They
fast.
do.
It just but
I think we talked about this notion, this open claw and guardrails around open claw. Um, I didn't realize this. I knew there was a craze around. Anyway, I get Mac Minis are sold out and back ordered for like 2 months, and
hot.
then
Yeah.
and then what's the big Mac Studio high performance computer they make? Those are all sold out, and it's 100% because of OpenClaw.
Yeah, they should give that guy a free. What's it? Tim Cook gave Trump like that thing in the White House that like a
Oh yeah,
special sovereign award
right,
thing. They should give it
right.
to that guy.
And I was listening. So when I was driving back from Austin to Houston, I was listening to the Moonshots podcast, and those guys were actually talking about this whole shortage of stuff with Apple. Oh, and they had Ben Horowitz was on as the guest, and that was just super interesting. But they were all talking about, this is a moment that Apple should capture. Apple's been seen as a laggard in this AI, and yet
Yeah,
all of a sudden everybody wants their gear. Um,
right.
you
And
know,
there's somebody at Redmond saying, "Why isn't this running on the PC?"
right?
We have all these Intel Nooks sitting here on the shelf.
Yeah.
Like, why?
What do I do with all these damn nooks? They look just like a Mac Mini, but it's running Windows. Maybe we don't want that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
savage
it's
days.
works, but gosh, I just love Apple Silicon. It's just so awesome. It's just
It's
rocks.
very impressive. It's very
It's super
impressive.
impressive.
I have no need to upgrade, but I don't know. Maybe I should. I
Maybe you
got a mixed
should.
feel about it.
Yes. So another thing, so at the end of my drive to Houston, I went out to have meetings at HPE's headquarters,
Mm,
which is in North Houston.
serious
I know.
business.
And so went into their new building and stuff like that. And it was cool. It was really nice, really magical,
Hmm.
And
And
so
that's HPE that's the enterprise
that's right.
of HP.
And it was interesting because one of the guys that I had lunch with, luckily he was an old timer, and so we could relate. In fact, he's so old timer, he had worked for Compaq.
There
Um,
you go.
and I said, what's going on? Because, when they did that merger, Compaq's campus is in Northwest Houston, and HP had moved in there and were using that. And I asked him I go, whatever happened to the Compaq campus? And he's like, and why did you build all this new stuff here? And he goes, oh, it's because it flooded twice. Um, and the first time it was a $50 million hit. And then the next time it was $100 million hit with the flooding up to, and because a lot of people don't realize this, you think of Asia for massive manufacturing, all this stuff. But in the olden days, Compaq manufactured 100% of all their servers and PCs and laptops in Houston. They had a full blown factory, just like Dell in Austin.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
know, yeah.
Actually, the guy I met with at Infineon mentioned that building, the Infineon building in Austin, was originally the AMD, like the original AMD like fab
Oh,
or
cool.
something. It was like a very
Wow.
historic building. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting history there.
There's some cool
Um,
history. We talked about it. I was like, I actually know Rod Kenyon, the founder of Compaq, because I worked with him after he left Compaq,
yeah.
and then actually he helped me when I was doing a startup, and introduced me to VCs and stuff like that. And he goes, "Oh yeah, I went to school with his son or daughter or whatever, high school or something like that." And so he knew who he was and everything. And so it was interesting just talking the old days. And we talked about all those companies. What's the highway up out of Boston where you had DEC and all the companies were all,
128, 128.
yeah. And so, and how somehow they ended up getting acquired by Compaq. You know, it's like, how did DEC end up as part,
Yeah, that's
and
right. Digital. Yeah.
yeah, and Tandem, remember Tandem computers?
Tandem. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I worked. So when I graduated at from BU, I went to work for Phoenix and Phoenix Technologies, the BIOS guys, and they were in Norwood, Massachusetts, so right on
Okay.
128, like south of Boston.
Okay.
And I remember before I got that job, I interviewed at DEC, I
Yeah.
think, and it was classic, pocket protector. I think it was like firmware for their storage drives or something like that. It was
Right.
some ungodly boring job. And
DEC
then
was the coolest.
DEC was cool though, and I also one summer when I was in BU, I interned at Prime Computer. Remember Prime? So they were like a couple of years before they went out of business. Basically, you could tell that things were
Yeah.
passing them by, but it was a good summer job, and the best thing about the job, and I wrote basically like test scripts and stuff for these mini computers.
Okay.
But the best thing about the job was the room I was working in was incredibly air conditioned. So summer in Boston, that was the place to be. Was
Yeah.
in the computer room because it was like
That's awesome.
60 degrees. But yeah, the back then 128, that was like a hot tech sector. I mean, it's still
Yeah.
a lot of good tech there, a lot of biotech,
I
but
know I've said it before, but when I read Soul of a New Machine, you know, Pulitzer Prize winning book about building a mini computer, it really taught me a lot about that world up there and those
sure.
people and what all the magic that had been created there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and to think that a book about building a mini computer would end up getting a Pulitzer Prize is unbelievable. It was such a great book. What a bird's eye view of
Soul of
just
a
what
New
it took to
Machine.
build it.
I was going to say there's a book here I was going to show you. I was going, oh, here's. Ooh. Occasionally I'll pull books off the shelf. So this one's called Where the Wizards Stay Up Late:
Oh,
The Origins of the Internet.
ooh,
Yeah,
cool.
really cool
Okay.
book. Um, I've read it a long time ago, and when is it? When's the? And what's cool about it is it's a bit of a history book, but it also teaches you a lot about kind of the how the internet sort of works.
Yeah. Oh, that's
It's
good.
1996,
Okay.
1996.
Is it
So
worth reading today?
it is because you will understand packets and what does that mean and how does the internet actually work and what was ARPANET and sometimes the understanding like we're talking about here, the history and
Yeah.
how this stuff came to be gives you kind of a good foundational knowledge so that when people start talking about stuff, you're like, oh yeah, I know how that works.
All right.
So
I'm on Amazon here.
where the wizards stay up late.
Here's a different cover. Looks like it's got some,
Oh,
maybe the people who
it
were,
probably mine's the original. I think mine's the first for maybe the first edition.
oh, okay. Yeah, no,
It's The
absolutely.
Origins of the Internet, Katie Hafner and Matthew Lyon.
That's
And
awesome.
I used to recommend this. Oh, here's a bookmark in here. I used to recommend this to folks on my teams. Like, yeah, if you want to learn how the internet started and how it works,
I love
basically
that.
at a bit level, it's
I
excellent.
totally
But yeah,
love that.
these books are. We should start a little list of like, here's your history reading list for.
I feel like, I feel like sometimes I feel like we're computer history historians. Like a lot of stuff we
A
talk
little bit.
about,
Well, we've been doing it for so long.
a lot of people thought that this is where the internet came from, but they would be mistaken.
They would be mistaken.
Yes.
Yes.
But for a lot of people, for the masses, this is when the
Yeah.
internet came to them.
Start me up. Start me up.
Start me up. And why was that? It was because they decided to integrate a TCP/IP stack into the OS, which doesn't seem like a big deal now, but it was revolutionary.
Yes, that's
You
true.
know, it's not like everyone was running Unix at home back then.
No, very few.
And so, and I do remember on Windows, like Windows 3.1 or Windows for Workgroups, there were third party
Mhm.
TCP/IP drivers you
Oh
could
yeah,
buy.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
back then the networking topology was all over the place, right? You had token ring and you had all kinds of weird stuff.
Yeah.
You had people running Banyan vines, for their email. I mean, it was the Wild West, you know.
Oh, Banyan Vines, more history. Who came to Microsoft from Banyan Vines and was responsible for the launch? Well, previously in NT, but he was the main guy for Windows Vista. And then, of course, the day after Windows Vista launches, he is unceremoniously
That
exited.
Brian, what was his name?
And he plays guitar, blues guitar. Great guy.
Oh, Jim Alchin.
Jim Elchin. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. He's actually quite a good guitarist too. Actually, he's on
Yeah.
Spotify. You can
But he was a
listen.
Banyan Vines guy. And I
Yeah.
met him in the 90s when he, doing NT. Remember? And he would always wear like a leather jacket. Oh, kind of like Jensen today. You like be in an elevator with him on campus and he's wearing this cool leather jacket and he looks like he's a rocker.
Yeah, and Banyan was a Boston company, by the way.
Yeah, that's
They
cool.
were they were a Boston area tech company, Banyan.
Right.
Um, so
And of
another
course,
like 20
who
years.
else came from a Boston tech company that really transformed and changed the total trajectory of Microsoft?
Uh, well, I was going to say no, Ray Ozzy's
Is,
Midwest. He's
is it before Ray? Before Ray, even though Ray was talking, his name is Dave. His last name is Cutler.
Dave Cutler. Yeah, there you go.
He
Okay.
was at DEC. He created the backs and whatever else. And so a lot of after the whole kind of DOS based stuff, and you go into but it was Dave Cutler and a team of guys who got out of DEC because I think maybe they probably
That's
also
right.
started to see the writing on the wall at DEC when you got into
Yeah.
the early 90s.
Yeah. Well, back then the frontier was the desktop. That was the desktop. That was the
Yes.
frontier for all this tech. Dave Cutler used to have a phrase, "We do what gets done." That was his
Yeah.
famous phrase.
And so Dave Cutler and his team single-handedly built Windows NT, and then he retired, and then he got a phone call saying, "We need to build this cloud thing, and you need to come back." And Dave Cutler came back, and he totally designed Azure. And
That's it.
so, without DEC and the geniuses from Boston, Microsoft would not be what it is today at all.
There you
Not even
go.
close.
Boston to the rescue.
It was kind of Boston to the rescue. Silicon Valley gets all the love, but the
Right.
impact
Well,
that
back
these
then,
people,
I think Boston was there was a lot of software around Boston. There's also like Lotus 123 and
oh
all these
yeah,
innovators in the software space were in the Boston area. And I think back then Silicon Valley was very much semiconductors, right? And
right,
um,
right. Hence the
so
name.
Silicon Valley.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
right,
where it comes from.
right. Absolutely. That's where it comes from. It used to be a
Yes.
bunch of orchards with oranges and stuff. And then all
That's
of a
right.
sudden we get Fairchild and Intel and everybody else and Sun
Yeah.
Microsystems.
We're digging deep here this morning,
We are
folks.
digging deep. And Silicon Graphics.
Silicon
That's
Graphics,
Silicon Graphics, SGI. Thank you.
workstations.
We got Silicon Graphics gave us advanced 3D technologies that gave us movies in the early 90s like Jurassic Park.
Well, even Star Wars, I think, was
Yeah,
wasn't Industrial Light and Magic was running on SGI, I think.
Silicon Graphics were just bleeding edge, awesome technology
Yeah,
back then,
very cool.
And it was funny because they're somewhat similar to Sun. And Sun, you think of a Sun Microsystems workstation in the 90s and an SGI workstation, they're versions of Unix and stuff like that. But Silicon Graphics had something that Sun just didn't have. They had insane graphics. And I think they created the whole OpenGL and all that great stuff.
Yeah, I think OpenGL came out of Silicon Graphics. Someone can name check me on that one, but yes, I think so. I think so.
And then the guy who started Silicon Graphics, and then after a while, I don't know if he was unceremoniously exited, even though he walked away with a lot of money. And then he was sitting around in Silicon Valley going, what do I do next? Oh, hey, there's this kid from Illinois who built this web browser thing called
Jim
Mosaic.
Barksdale. Yeah, yeah.
I'd like to fly him out here. What was his name? Jim.
Oh, Jim Barksdale.
Well, Jim Barksdale was hired later by them.
Oh, right.
Because Barksdale was a executive. He was like the CEO of AT&T back in the day. Jim, I forgot his last name. There's a great book. I don't have it to hold up like you did, but there's a book called Netscape Time that was written by Jim. And and we remember how we started talking about internet time and just things were just going fast.
Yeah.
Great book telling you the history of him coming out of Silicon Graphics and then having Andreessen come out there.
Yeah.
And them deciding
back in like 92, 93, like things were really going nuts with people were trying to figure out the internet was moving from, FTP and things like that.
Yeah.
To the web, and that was really the birth of the web.
And so you imagine with this guy that the biggest thing he ever did was Silicon Graphics, and then they go on to start Netscape.
Yeah.
And change the world.
Change the world, yeah.
And Netscape had a little booth out on the lawn at Microsoft for the Windows 95 launch, which was a big deal. That was the biggest moment maybe in Microsoft history, a public cool moment. And then there were other vendors, partners.
Yes, the partner booths.
A little tiny, they probably had a card table or something. Hey, we're this company called Netscape. We might go public shortly and be the biggest IPO of all time and a whole bunch of other stuff, but we'll see.
We had back for Windows 95. So I was working at Phoenix on the BIOS stuff, and our big thing there was plug and play. So
yeah, huge.
That was huge, and so we had invested a lot to support this new plug and play architecture from Windows.
Oh yeah.
Because back then, before plug and play, people don't realize you plug it in and nothing worked. So plug and pray is more
plug and pray, IRQ, DMA.
Yeah, it was
jumpers on the motherboard,
jumpers and switches and drivers, and nothing worked. And
nothing worked.
It was like, what if you plugged it in and it actually worked? That was the concept. So
it was amazing. It was amazing. And I know a lot of people tried to make fun. A lot of non-Microsoft people at the time were like, "Oh, they'd say plug and pray, or this is crap." It was like, no, actually, it changed the world all of a sudden. And I think Microsoft just went into the stratosphere with Windows 95.
Totally. Well, they put the framework in place, talking about guardrails, right? They're like, thou shalt make your drivers look like this. You shall, they have a lot of rules and force the ecosystem to go from the Wild West of randomness to like, you need to fit into these guardrails so that when people plug the shit in, it actually works.
Absolutely.
That was what drove the adoption, frankly.
Yeah.
Because people had faith that these mice and keyboards and printers and all this other stuff would actually, not 99% of the time it worked, 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Maybe
because there's back to the quote you did about, the serious people who, build their own hardware and the software and it's all one deal, which is what we think of as the Macintosh. But at that time, Mac was languishing. I remember Mac people when Windows 95 came out and they go, oh, wow, finally a version of Windows that I could use. That's cool. That's,
yes. Yeah, because then the Macintosh came out in like the 80s. Now we're going way back.
Yeah.
It was 1984,
Yeah.
85, I think.
Yeah.
So Windows 95. I mean, it took a while for Microsoft to sort of get the memo.
Right.
And
But you see those interviews with Steve Jobs because he's over at Next, and and he was bashing Apple at the time,
yeah,
and he's just like, what do you expect to happen? Microsoft got this, they got all this block of time when I was not at Apple, and Apple wasn't doing shit, and the Mac didn't progress, and the hardware was crap, and it just languished. And so he's like, so even a loser like Bill Gates could catch up to us, but I'll be back.
That's right. That's right. Well, it's never too late to innovate, So
That's right. That's right.
You're currently in third place. There's nothing stopping you from getting to first place,
Absolutely, T-Mobile.
Kind of goes back to our talk about Texas Instruments, analog devices, companies that have been around for a long time, they have lots of talent to innovate and especially in the AI space and edge AI space. So
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so there's plenty of room for that. So maybe that's how we sort of.
I think we just covered a lot of good stuff here. We went full circle. We did the circle of life.
Circle computers. By the way, nice haircut. I'll have to give you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It was just kind of going crazy. As soon as I got
glasses, by the way. So this is
where'd you get
my Oscar Goldman look? Oscar Goldman.
Love it.
You would get that reference, yeah. People can look it up. Look it up at home.
Look it up, people. You're gonna have to look it up.
Oscar he was the brains of the operation.
There you go. Absolutely. I don't know why these glasses are making me think of the Porsche Carrera sunglasses.
Well, they are aviator style, so they're a little bit retro.
A little bit retro, but we like a little. We're kind of retro people ourselves.
Retro. Retro goes a long way.
Oh my gosh. Well, since we are on the El Cheapo version of Zoom here today, folks, it's probably time to wrap it up before it gets instantly wrapped up. We're all of a sudden, it's like, yeah. Oh my gosh.
Good. Well, it's been nice chatting with you. I mean, it's a cozy chat. And
absolutely.
I'm sure Leonard will be back next week with his, ear-bending guitar solos and stuff. So
it wouldn't surprise me if there was some kind of live broadcast or a recording of Coffee Talk from Barcelona. That would not shock me.
He'll bring all his gear there.
If only there was someone there who had a portable movie studio with him at all times to make that happen.
Never know. We will do some live streams, by the way, from Nuremberg for Embedded World. So
awesome.
Folks can come to the Edge AI channel on YouTube, and I think 4:00 every day we're going to do a live stream.
That's great.
We'll have anyone and everyone that's going to be already signed up to be part of the live stream, so people can check that out.
All right, guys, it's good seeing you.
Yes.
And we're less than 1 minute. They don't give me the countdown with seconds, so it could just happen at any moment now.
ElevateOurCommunities.org.
ElevateOurCommunities.org. Much love to everybody. See you on the other side.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.